Hey guys, welcome back to I'm an actor, not a therapist. I'm Sammy. So, what's going on? So, one of my favorite movies. People always ask those questions when you're, you know, a content creator or if you have any sort of presence online where you're able to interact live with people. What's your favorite movie? And I always leave this movie off the list when I give people my favorite movies. Um, and I don't know why, because it is one of my favorite movies. The Producers. There's a line in the musical version in the song I Want to Be a Producer where Leo Bloom stands up and screams, "Stop the world, I want to get on," because he feels like life has passed him by. And very recently, in the last year or so, I've kind of had that thought in my head, stop the world, I want to get on. Um, or at least like the stop the world part. Because here's a very interesting thing that I've kind of been coming up against, and I don't know if others have experienced it as well, but here's something. I know we had an entire talk once in one of these shows where I said something to the effect of nobody tells you that healing hurts. Nobody tells you that. Here's something else that nobody tells you about healing. You're expected to still live your everyday life while you're doing it. You're expected to get up, you're expected to go to work, take care of the kids, take care of the house, you know, conduct yourself accordingly while you're dealing with the fact that you're healing, while you're working through your trauma, while you're healing from your trauma or from whatever it is that you're healing from, while you're having the emotional conversations with people that you might be trying to disconnect from. You have that conversation where you disconnect from somebody, you turn around, you go to work, and you're supposed to be completely focused on what it is you're doing. I think it's very interesting how our brains are able to almost compartmentalize being able to do that. Because recently, my brain has had a very hard time compartmentalizing things. But I do it. I still get up every day. I still go to work on time. I still make time for the people that are important to me in my life on a daily basis. I try to get as much productive things done during the weekend when I don't have to necessarily compartmentalize so much. But it's very much this feeling of, can I take a breath? Can things just pause for a second and let me catch the hell up? And I know that that's a lot to ask, and that's not something that anybody can do for you. The world can't stop because you're healing. It can't. It doesn't know how. You know, and it's just one of those things where, in those moments where you're just wanting to scream, can things just stop for a minute so I can catch my breath? Those are the times when you yourself, instead of asking everybody else to stop, because you have literally no control over other people. Absolutely none. You have no control over other people. You can't predict the way they'll react. You can't predict what they'll say, how they will carry themselves throughout the day. You have no control over any of that, right? But you have control over what you do, say, and carry yourself, right? As we've learned together, right? So, in those moments where you're screaming, everybody needs to stop. it I just need people to stop for a minute and let me catch up. In those moments, it is okay for you to stop yourself. Turn off the phone. Unplug for a day. Let yourself feel what it is you need to feel. Work out what it is you need to work out. Now, I'm not saying disappear off the face of the planet and don't tell anybody. If you need a day, the responsible thing to do when you have people that care about you in your life is say, hey, I'm not going to be available today. Don't worry, I'm all right. And go about your day. There are moments where when you're working through stuff and you can't compartmentalize, where you want one specific person to be with you, whether that's an online friend that you just need to do a video call with and just have them sit with you for a little while, or, a friend that might be in your area, to come sit with you. Not necessarily to talk you through anything, but I know personally for me, there are times where my brain is screaming at me and all I want is one specific person. And so I'll get in touch with that one specific person and go, hey, I'm not okay right now. I just need somebody to hang out with. And there are those that need to be alone to work those moments out. But what I want to say is that those moments are normal. And however you choose to get through those moments is completely up to you. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's a very personal choice, how you want to get through those moments. But they're going to happen. Right now I'm riding a wave of everything needs to stop and I need a minute to catch my breath in what I'm doing. My brain has not caught up to the fact that I'm allowed to unplug, though. So I'm sitting here telling you all, yes, it's okay to unplug. It's okay to not be productive for a day and things like that. I sometimes don't practice what I preach because I'm still in the process of learning that it's okay to do these things. My friends often have to remind me it's okay to unplug and walk away for a little while. It's okay to not always be next to my phone, to constantly be monitoring messages from people. It's okay if I spend the day by myself, with a friend, with family, and say, hey, I'm not available today because I'm with this person for the day or for the night. It's still something that I'm learning. So I'm telling you all of this as I'm learning to do it. So that's kind of where I think at least I'm sitting right now, is with this, this thing of everybody needs to stop for a second and let me try to catch up. In the meantime, what I could be doing is trying to catch up on my own. And I am trying to do that. I am working through it. I'm trying to do that. There's a lot of journaling going on. There's a lot of sitting with thoughts, which I actually had to be taught to do. One of my friends, the very first time we spoke, they asked something to the effect of, how do you deal with silence? And I remember just looking at them and going, what are we talking about here? And they said, how do you deal with silence? If you shut off the TV and you shut off your phone and you're just sitting in your house and nothing's happening, what happens? I said, my brain goes into complete overdrive and my brain freaks out and then I have to put something on. And they said to me, but why? Why does your brain freak out? Why do you feel the need to fill that void? And at the time, it was because sitting in those moments of silence made me have to go through my thoughts that the noise around me was able to distract me from. It has gotten better. I've been able to sit in silence longer, but it's still a struggle. Um, it's still something that I work on, but it's a lot less scary than it used to be. So there are times where I will sit in my room before bed and just listen to the silence and let my thoughts from the day kind of catch up. Because when that happens, at least for me, I can only speak from my experience. I can't speak for anybody else's experience. And like I say all the time, this is not a one size fits all thing. It can't be. But I know that for me, sometimes I will lay in silence in my room. I have to sleep in silence. Please don't put the TV on. Please don't put the radio on when I'm trying to sleep, because I'll never get there. I just won't ever get there then. But, laying in bed, waiting to essentially fall asleep, the way that I get my brain to calm down, I ask myself a couple questions, or I tell myself a couple things. Nobody's expecting anything of you right now. Nobody's asking for your attention right now. Nobody's asking you to do anything right now. Your only job right now is to close your eyes and go the hell to sleep. That's literally what I tell myself. When I have to calm my brain down at the end of the night, that is literally what I tell myself. Nobody's looking for your attention. Nobody's expecting you to do anything. Nobody's expecting anything out of you. And your only job is to fall the hell to sleep. And that gives my brain a chance to catch up at the end of the night. During the day, it's a different story, right? Because again, we're expected to be dealing with the feelings while we're driving the kids to school, while we're working, while we're, if you're a creative, while you're filming or writing or directing or on stage or behind a camera or whatever your creative outlet is, we're expected to still produce. We're expected to still be a productive person, whatever that looks like, while we're going through the healing process, while we're working through our really big feelings. There's been plenty of times where I've been at work and somebody says something to me, and it's just that one more thing that I didn't necessarily need to be plopped in front of me, and I shut down, right? You have those moments where you shut down, where it's just one more thing and I'm gonna shut down. And that's happened more than once while I've been either at work or creating. And in those moments, I'm currently still working on coping mechanisms for those moments. It's in those moments where there have been times where I've actually said out loud, everybody needs to stop. Just things need to stop. Everybody needs to stop. I need a second. And then depending on the circumstances that I'm in, obviously if you're at work, you really don't have the option to do this. But if you're, creating or on your own time or whatever the case may be, that's the time where you should take a breath, take a step back, take however much time you need to recalibrate. It's okay to need to recalibrate. It's okay to go online and say, hey guys, I'm not going to be around for X amount of time. I need a break. It's okay to do that. I know it's a really odd concept. I know. I realize that. Because in today's world of social media and everybody being accessible essentially 24 hours a day at this point, you realize that anybody in the world can get in touch with anybody else in the world just by picking up their phone and sending a text, a DM, a message of some kind, an email. Everybody is reachable immediately. For whatever reason, however you do it, social media and the internet has made every single one of us accessible 24/7. It's like we're all on call. All of us, we're all on call to everybody, like all the time. And that in of itself, on top of everything else that we're doing in the real world with our lives, our families, our careers, our whatevers, it can get a little daunting and it can put a lot of pressure on people. And as long as you come back, as long as you're able to take the time and then come back, there's no reason why you shouldn't take the time and then come back. Make sense? Even if that means taking a couple days off of work. Take a couple days off of work. Take the time. Take the time to breathe. Take the time to, binge the TV show or watch the cartoon. Nobody's too old for cartoons. I don't even want to hear it. Nobody's too old for cartoons. Nobody. Do whatever you need to do to reset, recalibrate, and come back. Because we all have those moments of stop the world, I want to get on, or stop the world, I want to get off. We all have those moments, all of us. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. With everything that, again, with the fact that we're all always accessible, with the fact that, we all still have to do stuff. And for those of us that do have trauma somewhere that we're working through, it makes it a little bit more difficult because while we're dealing with the feelings of working through whatever trauma we're working through, again, we're still expected to be, we're still expected to live. It's very difficult to separate these things. You really can't. So the way I do it is I say, hey, I'm not okay right now. I need a minute. It's okay to ask for the time away. Like I've said, it's okay to ask for the time away. But there's no way that the rest of the world can stop while you try to catch up. There's just not. Even in healing, there are people in my life that are far more healed than I am. And, they have been able to find a healthy balance, or they're working on finding a healthy balance, by making decisions that maybe I wouldn't make. Because again, this is not a one size fits all, where people feel like they can take the time away, say for a week or so. I haven't gotten there yet. I'll take a day here and there, or I'll take a couple of hours, but I have not reached the point where I personally would be okay with taking a whole week. And I'm not saying that if you are in that spot and you're able to take that time that you shouldn't. Please take the time. Take the time, do what you need to do, regroup, come back. I have a friend that does do that occasionally, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you need to do things, if that's how you need to recalibrate yourself, then recalibrate yourself. Because I would rather my friends say to me, hey, I'm not going to be around this week because X, Y, Z. than to bottle it all up and then not be okay. Does that make sense? I hope this makes sense. I know I kind of circled the wagons here a couple times and kind of repeated myself a couple times. Um, but again, as I said, I'm currently riding this wave of stop the world for a few minutes. And I am learning to, live life while going through some very big, sometimes very scary feelings. Um, because of the stuff that I'm working through, which, is what it is. It's just a learning process, is what it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I need help recalibrating and I need to walk away for a little while. Or, hey, I am not okay right now. I don't know how I will get through the day without somebody checking in on me. And I want to be very clear, I'm not talking about being in danger or anything like that. I'm talking about, I had therapy last night. I'm still working through it. I'm not all the way okay right now. Can somebody just hang out with me for a little while? That's kind of what I'm talking about. If you are in that situation, though, then please have your check-in system. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want anybody to feel like I'm singling anybody out or anything like that, because that's not my intent whatsoever. But, it all goes back to communication. As long as you communicate what you need, then it makes that stop the world feeling feel a little smaller. It does. It makes it feel a little smaller. Now, I know I need to work on my communication. I'm terrible at it sometimes. I am absolutely awful sometimes at saying to somebody, I'm not okay right now. I need help. Or I'm not okay right now. Can we talk for a little while? And when I say can we talk for a little while, I mean about anything, literally anything. Take my mind off of what it is I'm going through, because at some point I'm going to circle the wagon back and I'm going to tell you what in the world is going on with me. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with needing to take that break, with needing to get up and walk away for a little while. Because if that's going to help you recalibrate, then that's what's going to help you recalibrate. But it's just something I've been thinking about, because it's something that I've personally been riding the wave of for a little while. And it's been a very interesting wave, let me tell you. It's been very, very interesting lately. And, having a good support system is fabulous, but you could have the biggest, greatest support system in the world. If you don't tell people what it is you're feeling, though, then nobody can help you. Because at the end of the day, and this is something my therapist has to keep reminding me of, nobody can read your mind. I know. How damn disappointing, right? Like, how disappointing. How dare you not be able to read my mind, right? But no, people cannot read your mind. So if you're feeling a certain way and you need help, nobody can tell that unless you say something. So, I'm actively working on my communication skills. I'm actively working on the, hey, I'm not okay right now, I'm going to take a break skills. These are things that I'm starting to learn while I'm doing the rest of it, while I'm planning the trip and auditioning for the things and writing the things and filming the things and updating the social medias and all of that. While I'm doing all of the rest of that, I am learning to recalibrate myself in ways that make sense for me. It's a complete and total learning process. and you have to give yourself patience. And that is easier said than done. I completely understand. But it's something we can all work on together, right? It's something that we can strive for, work on, and wake up every day and go, today is going to be another day where I'm going to do this, and we get up every day and we do it. Because what other choice do we have? And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to say, what other choice do I have? Because you get another opportunity to go and do the things when you wake up in the morning, right? Cool. So, guys, I'm going to leave you with this thought. Don't be afraid to recalibrate every so often. It will do you a world of good. In the meantime, I hope you guys like the episode. Like, comment, subscribe. Find me on socials. Find me on TikTok. Find me on Insta. All those places I can be found. And until next time, I hope you all have an absolutely fabulous, fabulous week. Have a good night. I will talk to you all later.